From NewsNation headquarters, this is NewsNation Prime.
Well, the presidential election now just 100 days away, and to help break down where things stand, we're bringing in our panel, Matt Klink, Republican strategist and political consultant who, by the way, has worked on campaigns in more than 35 countries on 6 continents, and then A. Scott Bolden, NewsNation political contributor and former D.C. Democratic chairman. Welcome both. Matt, I'm going to start with you tonight. You know, we saw former President Trump in Minnesota on Saturday, and he does seem to be trying to break up the Midwest's blue wall. Matt, Minnesota is a state, you know, we've been covering this, has not gone to a Republican in the presidential race since 1972 with Nixon. Why is Trump's team going there? Is it a waste of resources?
They don't think so. You have him trailing by 10. I've seen results that have him in mid-single digits. And look, the Republicans right now are expanding the map. They're looking at Minnesota. They're looking at New Jersey. They're looking at Virginia, which is always a good thing. Although I have to tell you, ultimately, this race is going to come down to 4 states and about 1 county in each of those 4 states. So I'd keep pushing it for the time being, so long as it doesn't take resources from the key swing states that the Republicans know that they need to win.
Scott, I know you were telling me last night you are puzzled at the states that Trump is hitting right now. Tell me more about that.
Well, he's in New York last month. He's in Minnesota where he's down by 10 points. I think they're still running like they're running against Biden. They just can't shake the fact that that's been their campaign strategy. And now you've got Kamala Harris, who is a continuing difference in regard to who you're running against. Why am I using resources in Miami and other blue states? You're only doing that if you think you've got a shot, and regardless whether it's 10 points or 5 points. The fact of the matter is 100 days to go. Kamala Harris is tied with him or slightly ahead in all of the swing states based on a review of all of those polling. And the reality is she's not even gotten into the DNC yet, which she's going to get a bump. And she hasn't done the first debate probably in September, where she is going to bring the heat and going to prosecute the case against this convicted felon. And so I think the Republicans are on their heels. They're trying to figure out how to run against Kamala Harris. But right now, if he's in Minnesota, he still thinks he's running against Joe Biden. He can't fire Joe Biden. Well, Joe Biden's resigned.
Oh, you know, Matt, I want to bring you back in here. Specifically today, we heard Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg saying that the attacks on President Biden's age have now flipped on former President Trump. Let's listen together.
I'm pretty sure voters are worried about the age and acuity of President Trump compared to Kamala Harris, who represents being a generation younger. And how could anybody not watch the stuff he's saying, the rambling on the trail, and not be just a little bit concerned?
So, Matt, now that Biden has exited this race, Trump is the oldest presidential nominee in U.S. history officially. Should Americans be concerned about his age?
Donald Trump does not act his age, for one. I mean, look, there is a clear difference in Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Look, Mayor Pete is smooth, but he's not that smooth because he didn't make a very good candidate in 2020. Although I will say, look, the Republicans are going to fight the battle where they want to fight it. You're starting to see the outlines of it. They're going to bring up Kamala Harris's radical record of she's a crazy from San Francisco. She supported policies that are significantly out of the mainstream, including banning fracking, which is going to go over really well in Pennsylvania. She supports the Socialist Green New Deal. There's a lot of ammo there that they will unload on her. Probably not an appropriate term given what happened to Donald Trump a few weeks ago, but there's a lot. Her record will be what they hoist her on, and she was the most liberal president or senator when she was in the United States Senate. She is vulnerable, and once America learns who she is, they will fear that. So, Scott, we welcome the opportunity. Once she gets the nomination, let's go. I think the Trump campaign is ready to go, and they're anything on their heels. Let me give you an example. In March of 2024, Donald Trump was up by 1.7 points. On July 26, he was up by 1.7 points. The race has basically stayed exactly where it was. And, so you can say Kamala has momentum. it's a sugar high, and America's going to come off of it
It's a
really
sugar high.
quick.
Scott, is it a sugar high? I'll let you respond to that.
Oh, my friend, you're still running against her record from 4 years ago. She's been a vice president for 4 years. She's been anything but super liberal or far left. You can try to hang that around her neck, but that dog won't hunt. This isn't a sugar high. Yeah, 200,000 white female voters come together on a call and raise millions of dollars. Black men and black women are doing the same thing. Latinos are doing the same thing. They've raised over $100 million in the last week, and they're just getting started. And the Republican Party still is trying out lines against her. Every time the Republicans attack her, attack this woman of color who has the momentum, they're attacking every other woman of color, every other woman that is not of color. And that's the problem with the GOP. That abortion issue and his attacks on women are going to reverberate, and there's going to be a slew, a revolution of voters who are going to come out and support her and against the negative and the corruption and chaos and criminality of Donald Trump. You just watch and see. Let's talk in 2 weeks, and we'll see her even pulling further away, especially after the DNC. So keep trying, keep attacking. That dog won't hunt.
We'll have you both
Donald
back
Trump
here
is
in 2 weeks to talk
now
about
than
this.
he was in
And another
2020.
thing.
Oh, all right, gentlemen, very, very quickly, I know, Scott, you mentioned the 200,000 white women, just one of the Zoom calls that was held this week. Incredible fundraising numbers, and NewsNation confirming more than $200 million now coming in just the past week. 170,000, or what was the statistic? The thousands of volunteers as well who have signed up for her campaign. Her campaign just,
170,000
that's right. So, Scott, how does her campaign make sure this isn't just a euphoric sugar rush? How does she maintain this momentum for 100 days?
You keep doing the same thing over and over again. You keep raising money. You keep organizing, if you will. And then you go into the convention. You're going to have a great convention. And then the messaging and the prosecution of the case against Donald Trump after the convention comes at a high point when she does the debate with him. And she argues facts with him, despite his bullying and his superlative statements and all the lies he's going to tell. She just counterpunches every time. You counterpunch with facts, and he will be demolished in that race. There won't be any bad days for Kamala Harris. Biden may have had a bad debate, but she's going to do a number on Donald Trump. If I was the GOP, I'd be terrified of her candidacy right now.
And still a big question. Still a big question if we'll be seeing a debate. Speaking of debates, and I know a lot of voters want to see that day. Matt Klink and A. Scott Bolden, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you.